phone number for the office extension number and all that for you people?
Well, if you weren't such a hider and a hold out on undercover.
I didn't know I was undercover, but whatever. If I was undercover, I wouldn't be trying to call.
The last time we were together.
It was a long meeting in Coleman, and I'm convinced that the city council doesn't know what they told. They might have sold the whole lot, and I didn't know.
Your last name was Brookshire.
Imagine you know the Brookshires. They've been around here for a while.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to call the meeting order at 7:00. And Georgia is not going to be here tonight. And I'd like to introduce our newest board member, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jana Brookshire. I am a Warrensburg resident, so I'm here to represent Johnson County. I understand I'm completing an existing term, so you just have me for a year to decide if you love me or hate me.
Usually the other way around.
It's really a privilege to be here, and I look forward to getting to know all.
All right, thank you. My name is Scotty Walker. I'm from Poland. We'll just go around the table and introduce ourselves.
I'm Jackie Halls. We met yesterday when you came to pick up your packet. Director.
Fern Dethridge from Waverly.
Tyler, Porter.
I'm just looking at Fern's name tag. I think it's back.
I think
Is
it's
it
on
just,
both sides.
no?
It's on both sides.
We'll see it, if you turn it a little bit. She was confusing you.
Judy Walter, I'm from Johnson County also. I've been here forever. So I'm counting down the last week.
Well, Lexington.
Any advice on telling the Judy's part? Remembering which is Judy and which is Judy.
Both Judy. She's this secretary and I'm the finance officer.
All right. I can't remember. Are we doing roll call or?
Yeah.
are we doing roll
Can
call?
we just consider that a roll call?
Sure.
I think that'd be okay.
Yeah, I think, yeah, because I got everybody. The only one who's unable to attend is George.
Yes.
Okay.
Do we have any public comments?
There are no public comments at this time.
All right. Consent agenda items.
Minutes.
Yeah.
Minutes are not correct. Under lifting the COVID restrictions, there was one motion that was made that staff wear their mask at their discretion. That's not entered in the minutes. Okay, and then it says Georgia made a motion to have children under the age of 12. Georgia made the motion for the staff mask. And then I made a motion that we were talking about story time.
Right, in-person programming.
Yes, and I made the motion that branch managers decide the size that would be safe for children at story time that their branch could accommodate. And that mask would be available, but not required. That we would strongly encourage, but not be required. And that vote carried 8 to 0.
Okay. We will make that.
I got the times, like I said, pretty much when that was in the video, because I went back and watched the video today.
Sure, good. Do you have those times? So that we can just write those
The
down?
one for staff was around 28 to 29 minutes. And then the motion that I made was between 35 and 36.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I forgot to welcome our new director. We just went all the way around the table. Jackie started on Monday. I came down to introduce her to staff. and she's still with us, so the 24-hour backup option is now expired. So.
3 days, so.
No, it's 24 hours.
Trucking along.
Okay, so we're going to get the minutes corrected. Are there any other corrections in minutes? Thank you, Carla, for going back and watching the video.
I did find one typo. A little one. Under 7B, specialist was called on, should it be called in?
Oh, it should be called in.
Okay.
Are there any discussion on any of the financial reports?
But we accept the consent agenda with the new additions.
Motion by Ron McMullen to accept the consent agenda as corrected.
I'll second that.
Second by Judy Walter. Any further discussion? Roll call.
One question about the budget. Are we moving on to budget or are we still, is budget part of this discussion? Or is budget the next discussion?
This is
No,
the
we're on-
financial
We're a
report.
consent agenda. With just the financials.
Items up on top there.
Just from last month's bills and, yeah. Oh, Brent Detheridge,
Yes,
Harlan Dillon,
Yes.
Ron McMullen,
Yes.
Dee Tyler,
Yes.
Dee Walter,
Yes.
Buddy Walker,
Yes.
Jana Brookshire.
Yes.
That is
Roll call.
7.
Yes.
7 yeas, 0. 7 yeas, 0.
Okay, under unfinished business, request for qualifications for engineers. Talk about that.
Guess I'll go. My turn, huh? So I'm Tracy Brandner. I'm the Economic Development Director for Johnson County. First and foremost, thank you to the Library Board of Trustees for this opportunity to provide assistance. Norm couldn't be here this evening. He had another commitment, so just get Tracy, sorry. I wanted to walk you through the process, and so you have this handout, has some color on the top, that kind of have been along for this journey. You'll know where we've been, but for the new faces in the room, I wanted to kind of recap where we've been and we can talk about where we're going. I want to express also appreciation and thanks to Judy Walter and Harlan. We very much appreciate all the work that you guys did. It was the meeting that we had July 14th was wonderful. I thought we had great discussion, and you'll see some of the outcomes of that here in a bit. But so for those that have been on this journey, you know that this was kind of our second time around in this process. So after receiving no responses to the first round request for qualifications, that should be RFQ, sorry, not RFA, I just made that up. Revisions to the RFQ and procedures were implemented. As you remember, we kind of made several changes. I think we had about 7 different changes that we made. More importantly, we changed the RFQ. Originally, we were going to go out for requests for qualifications for engineers that would be along for the journey for all of the potential building problems that Trails Regional Library would have from kind of this point forward. And when we didn't get any responses because engineering firms were so busy, we felt like maybe we needed to narrow that scope a little bit. So we went back and redid the request for qualification solicitation and narrowed it to potential structural and hardscape system assessment, replacement recommendations, bid specifications, scope of work for possible roof replacement, and construction inspection for the building located in Warren. So again, we just really narrowed that down, and then we were able to get a little bit more interest on the project. As a result of this, the one-page RFQ was mailed to 37 engineering firms, 16 architectural firms on Thursday, May 27th. Thank you, Anita and her team. With the deadline for response of 4 p.m. on June 25th. The RFQ and the master agreement for engineering services, which was both approved by Doug Harris, your legal counsel, in advance of being mailed. We put those on the website this time instead of spending, can't remember, almost $3 to mail. We wanted to, with 54 or whatever, over 50 different recipients, we wanted to cut our cost of mailing down. That's why we just did the one-page RFQ and put the rest on the website. And then the RFQ, you would be able to see that any submitters of their statements of qualification was required to agree with that master agreement of services before submitting. So they had to go to the website and look at it, basically. And then I called and emailed 30 firms to solicit additional interest in the project. So when it came down to June 25th, we received 2 statements of qualifications in alpha order. Roof Asset Management Services out of Webb City, Missouri, and Wallace Design Collective out of Kansas. They have several offices, but the closest one is in Kansas City, Missouri. So then our outstanding committee members went to work. They got the, they received the statement of qualification packet, and they received scoring sheets. They went ahead and scored those, and then we got together on July 14th and discussed those. Norm was here, he was here, myself. I went through any questions that they had regarding how to score, those kinds of things. And so we only use Norm's numbers if there was a tie on the individual scores. It's kind of the way we do this. So if there was a tie amongst the committee, since there was only 2 committee members, we allowed Norm to go ahead and score, but we only used those if there was a tie, and we didn't, that was not the case. So Norm's numbers didn't get used, basically. And so as a result of the scoring, the top ranking firm was Roof Asset Management Services, LLC. And then I volunteered to check their references that they provided in the statement of qualification. These documented references have been provided to Anita. I can tell you that the 2 people that I got a chance to talk to, they provided 6 references, and 2 of the 6 were public schools, which nobody is there right now. And then I left 2 messages, and I got to talk to 2 people, so that's how we got to the 6. Both glowing reviews that both companies had used them for 20 plus years. They said basically about the same thing. They just wouldn't do a roof project without them. They highly recommended them again and again. They would use them and continue to use them year over year in their roofing. So no red flags were identified. And then I think I'll stop here and let you guys want to add anything this time?
What is there to add?
I mean, both firms seemed like very good candidates. They were very, but because we are very specific about a roof, that kind of fit the company. That one company that we voted on, we put them a little ahead because that's just their specialty. Basically, that was it.
So next steps, I think Anita took minutes for that committee meeting. I don't know exactly what the action was, but Tracy remembers it like this. The committee then recommended that Trails Regional Library or a designated representative, which we'll probably need to kind of chat about a little bit, enter into negotiations on specifically defined scope of work and proposed cost of said scope, with the highest scoring firm being Group Asset Management Services LLC. And this is sort of always our caveat when we do these things. If a scope and a corresponding fee is not agreed upon within a reasonable time, Library Board of Trustees or designated representative can conclude negotiations with the top ranked firm and then initiate negotiations with the second ranked firm. Now you have to close it, get to that point, you have to close that negotiation process, give notice to the first ranked firm that you're moving to the second ranked firm. You can't have them competing at the same time, that's illegal. And then you start negotiations in earnest with the second ranked, which is the law's design. If you don't reach negotiation with that firm, then we need to start the process. So that's kind of the way I remember that committee meeting going, but I will let the two committee members and Anita correct me if I get things wrong. So, I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them, concerns, issues.
I make a motion that we follow the recommendation of the committee and enter into an agreement with Growth Asset Management Services.
Negotiation. Yeah. Negotiation. We can't agree yet because we don't have a scope, we don't have a fee.
Okay,
So,
into
yeah.
negotiations.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Fern Deathridge and a second by Ron McMullen to enter into negotiations with Group Asset Managements. Any other discussion? Make a roll call vote, please.
All right. Ron McClellan,
Yes.
Fern Deckridge,
Yes,
Scotty Walker.
Yes.
Judy Walter,
Yes.
Jana Brookshire.
Yes.
Harlan Dillon,
Yes.
Nick Tyler.
Yes.
Okay, the motion carries 7-0. Lafayette County Board member.
Just a minute, we need somebody to go into negotiation.
Now, who's gonna-
The committee recommends, because you were part of the initial review.
I would say someone that knows a little bit the background and what we're looking for as far as overall.
Does it need to be a board member or should it be a staff member who's an alternate?
Could be either. I don't think we board members are really smart.
Certainly not an expert on groups.
Except we try and keep the rain up, that's all.
With those nails coming through, that's not helpful.
I don't know.
We just have the committee to get somebody and just to meet with them.
I think we need to get moving before we,
You'd have to vote on
We have to vote on somebody to do that.
to move it forward today, right? That one.
The pleasure of.
If you want to move it forward now. Instead of.
Tracy, would you and Norm be involved in these negotiations?
We could sit on the sidelines and document like scope and make sure that we get not only a proposal based on scope, but also the fee based on scope. Make sure that we get the overall fees in case we wander away from that scope. And so we kind of have an idea, having gone through this before, we have an idea about what we would need to negotiate. In terms of outcome. But we wouldn't be able to negotiate scope.
For us, but you could assist us.
also, we discussed that originally there were 3 of us on this committee, and we're down to 2 now, so it'd be helpful to have.
Who was three?
I think President, do you want to be on it, President?
Not really.
Okay, well,
Lori Johnson was on.
Okay, Lori was on there, okay. Yeah, but I can't, if I do, I can't be by myself. I have to,
Oh, it'd be you and 2
In the
of us.
committee.
and when does this committee meet?
Whenever you want.
Okay. I can't meet during the day.
I move that Scotty, he, placed on the committee.
Is that a conflict of interest since he is also the president of the board?
Yes, it sounds like a conflict.
Huh?
Sounds like a
You're not
conflict.
gonna buy anything from the 5 and
I'm
time.
1 page into reading the bylaws, folks. I'm still learning.
Throw those away.
I don't think we threw away the bylaws.
I just don't know how much I would have to offer.
I don't need it.
Because do I understand right that we're trying to hire a consultant or not? And the consultant would hire people to do the work, is that correct?
Well, the consultant's gonna put together the bid document, the plans, then this body will review those and make the selection, ultimate contract. And that consultant then oversees that ultimate contract. So this isn't the roofing guy, this is the guy that's
Got it.
overseeing the roofing guy.
Okay.
They're gonna decide what we need, just what exactly we need.
Do the assessment,
Rather than just having a bid that we just rip everything off, and put everything back on. They're gonna look at it and say, well, we can repair this, but this needs to come off completely and be fixed, and so they're gonna give us the scope of the work, and then we'll get bids off of the scope of the work.
You want to do it, that's fine. Just
No,
cancel.
I will.
I'll just cancel this motion.
She said conflict of interest, I said, okay, I'll take that.
Vaughn would be a good guy too.
No,
He's got more time though. He's got time on this.
I move that the existing committee continue with the work.
I think we already have them.
yeah, I think.
I apologize, I didn't hear that.
It's got to be placed on the committee.
Well, but our committee's one short, so we
Yeah.
need one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Put me on the committee. Roll call vote.
Okay, Vern,
Yes,
Judy Tyler,
Yes.
Carlin Dillon,
Can I clarify the motion?
Kurt.
So the motion is that we're adding Scotty to the committee. And then the committee's going to,
That's not on there yet.
just adding him to the
Yes,
committee.
adding him.
Oh, okay. Yes,
Judy Walter,
Yes,
Jana Brookshire,
Yes.
Ron McMillan,
Yes.
Scotty Walker,
I get that thing.
Walker says, no.
that is 6 yeas, 1 abstention.
So,
I move that the existing committee continue on with their work. Any question?
and we have a,
And we'll work with Tracy and.
so we have a motion that the existing committee will continue on. Is there a second?
that's basically what I suggested to start with.
Okay. Just a little bit ago? Okay.
So do you second? Or did you make the motion in Janice's?
I didn't think we even needed another motion because what I said was that I voted that the committee go ahead with the negotiations.
Sounds fine to me.
I will second Fern.
All right.
Scratchy.
Give a roll call vote, I guess.
Okay. Vern Deathridge. Judy Tyler.
Yes.
Harlan Dillon.
Yes.
Anna Brookshire.
Yes.
Judy Walter.
Yes,
Ron McMullen.
Yes.
Scotty Walker.
Yes. Is that all concerning RFPs?
If it gets where you can't do it, don't really uncomfortable do it, next meeting, and sometimes just bring it back,
Okay.
that you like to, so.
Okay. Tracy, thank you.
Good job, everybody. Thank you. Yep. Jackie will be in touch.
All right, thank you. Nice meeting you.
Okay. We still need 2 Lafayette County board members. We have 1 in the packet. Is there some others?
I think that one was very well.
We got one that, I said, Sandy Hinky from Concordia. She's really a wonderful person, and she agreed to go on the board, and she'll be representing Lafayette County, and she'll do a lot for the own county, well, Concordia. So I just think that, she should be approved for the board. Since I'm the one guy going, I'll make that motion.
I'll make that motion that we recommend Sandy for the board.
Okay, we have a motion by Judy Walter for a second.
I'll second.
Second by Judy Tyler to recommend to the county, Lafayette County Commission, Sandy Hinky to who's, are we putting her on the unexpired term or the first term? I recommend the first term.
I don't know, I don't even know who she replaced and how long been.
Well,
We have one position again.
One went off anyway.
One that ends in 23 and one that ends.
So Allison's term would end, or Allison's former position would be end in 25, and then the other open position was Amanda's, which ends next in 2023.
I recommend the one that ends in 2025.
I think.
full term of them.
Okay, Judy Walter made the initial motion and who seconded?
I did.
Okay, Vern Deathridge,
Yes.
Judy Tyler.
Yes.
Harlan Dillon,
Yes.
Anna Brookshire,
Yes.
Judy Walter,
Yes,
Ron McMullen.
Yes.
Scotty Walker.
Yes.
Okay.
Scotty, would you like for me to draft that letter for you to sign?
I will, I've got a letter I already have written, so.
Okay.
I will do that. I'll send it over to you, Ron.
Okay, if you sign it,
Yeah.
and I'll just take it on up to the judge, to the court. Okay, I've got we still need Kathy Thompson. She's a central bank manager at Odessa. We need one. And I've talked to several people, and they say she's a very wonderful person. So I have sent her a nominee form like we got here, and she said she'll get it back to me. I just think, we can't vote on her yet, but maybe next month, when I get her application, because several people have really recommended her. She did agree to go on the board. It would be a wonderful time. So we'll just wait till and see if she continues to send. I will send it to you since your name's on the application thing. Let me know if you get it.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, that's all I got to
Is
say.
that all right with the board?
I'm looking
What was
forward
the
to seeing
name?
her nomination.
Her name is Kathy Thompson. You don't have anything on her. I just got, she works for the she's a central bank manager in Odessa. And
I
several
just didn't
people-
catch your name.
Huh?
I just
Okay.
didn't catch your name.
Yeah, Kathy Thompson.
I'd like to see when she submits her form.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay, Johnson County Representative for the Foundation Board. Last month, we had the application from Becky Clear as interested in being on the Johnson County, on the Library Board. But since we didn't select her, I asked her if she'd be willing to be on the Foundation Board, and she readily agreed to be on the Foundation Board, to take the position of Ken Messler, who passed away a few months ago. And that is something that this board appoints, so if it is the board's pleasure, we would take a nomination or a vote or a nomination to put Becky Clear on the foundation.
I make a motion that we put Becky Claire on the foundation board for the unexpired term of Ken Messer.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second to fill the vacancy on the foundation board with Becky Clear. With a roll call vote.
Bert Deckridge,
Yes,
I'd like a discussion.
Yeah.
I don't have any information about the foundation board. Where would I find that information? Who else is on the board? How many seats are on the board?
So there's 10 members on the board.
Okay.
5 from.
Is this on the website, Anita?
I think there's information on that.
I think so. I've not picked up on it.
There's 5 from each county.
Okay, okay.
Plus the president of the board of trustees.
And that's the same thing, the foundation board?
Right.
That's the same number on the foundation?
Yeah, foundation board and library board are the same
Yeah.
number.
Both same.
Yeah.
I think Lafayette County short on the foundation board too, I think.
I don't know, I can't keep track anymore.
Well, I think my wife's on there. I think she's been trying to find someone
Okay,
to come on.
okay.
I might be wrong.
Does the existing foundation board, did they nominate this person or did their,
No,
No,
This
this
board.
this
board,
board,
this board,
that board doesn't get a say over who they're?
this board is appointed by the commissioners. Foundation board is appointed by us.
with our recommendation.
Thank you for the clarification.
okay. Are we ready to vote?
Bird,
yes,
Tyler,
Yes,
Carlin Dillon,
Yes,
Janet Brookshire,
yes?
Dee Walter,
Yes,
Ron McMullen,
Yes.
Scotty Walker.
Yes. And then Jackie, can you, I never had access to any of this information, but we need to have a foundation board meeting sooner than later. But if you can gather up information, well, financial. All I can tell you that I know for sure is Community Foundation of the Ozarks. We do have some local accounts
Community Foundation.
of the Ozarks.
And is that something I coordinate? Is the-
Yeah,
the
you're-
Meeting?
Well, yeah, if you can just get the reports together, and then I'll go ahead and call the meeting.
Okay.
It's just one of those things, the director always puts the reports together.
A little bit of time.
That's fine. That's
Find
fine.
all that stuff.
Okay, new business. Need to get Jackie Hawes and board officers on bank accounts, or our board officers not already on there?
I think the banks are still gonna want a list of who's supposed to be on there.
Okay.
Now, you may not have to come in and redo the signature cards.
Okay,
You may not, I don't know. Banks, depends on what their laws are.
okay,
So, but I think to be on safe is to list everybody
okay.
and maybe even the, safe deposit box.
Okay.
Get Jackie on
Anita, was that in your notes in the June report? It was somewhere in the June report.
that. I think so.
remember reading
It's in the.
It's in your packet, yeah.
It's in the packet,
Yeah.
for our like 5B or whatever that is.
It's on page 8, if that helps.
Thank you.
So we'll need a motion to add Jackie and the board officers to the bank accounts. And I guess you'll go down to the bank and get the forms that we need.
And we may want to make our minutes show that we're removing Tanya
Okay.
from the bank account. So you may want to do that in your motion
Sure.
also.
Yeah, because last time, we had, couldn't go into the bank and sign it from the bank.
Yeah.
We had to go
Yeah, we
into
had to go in and
two
sign it
banks and, also Jackie would probably have to go up to the Odessa,
Bank of Odessa.
Bank of Odessa, which handles foundation funds.
Which handle what?
Foundation funds.
Don't we also have foundation funds in Edward Jones? Do we also have foundation funds in Edward Jones?
No, we just have them in, Bank of the Ozarks,
Okay.
whatever that is.
Okay.
Would that be voted on at a foundation meeting to be on there?
No, I don't think so, because you and I are, as board president, you and I are both members of the foundation board. You're the director of both, so.
Okay.
So.
I just want to
am I
make
wrong
sure we
thinking
didn't
that-
have to wait for that meeting before.
Am I wrong in thinking that we can take care of that for the foundation?
Care of that.
You did already ask something?
I'm, my head's spinning because I had asked, do we have a list of names for the foundation board? And then someone had just said, we should make sure we include the names of the folks on the foundation board. Where is the list? Who has the
No,
names?
we don't have.
We're talking about for the bank
Yeah.
accounts. So they were talking about to make sure that all members of this board are on there and then me as the new director. And then take the old director off, have her removed from those accounts.
It's not about the foundation board.
Does that help?
Yes, I took foundation and finance and mission and national.
Okay.
I make a motion that the former executive director be removed from the bank accounts and safe deposit box, and the new executive director, Jackie Hawes, and the board officers be added to the bank accounts and safe deposit box.
Can I just suggest that we need to name Tanya, not just former executive director, but name her
I
by
think-
name?
Not only do we need to name Tanya, but I think we also need to name the
Board members.
financial institutions themselves. But you'll have to take in the approved minutes, and that needs to be in the,
Also the board members' names probably.
right, right.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, Vern moved, Carlin seconded. Is there any other discussion?
It's gonna be a long motion to put together. Do we have the names of the banks and the names of the folk?
It would be the UMB, Central Missouri Community Credit Union, the Bank.
a lot of work on your shoulder.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. I can go back and listen to it later. No, it's not a problem at all.
I have a question though. Bank of Odessa is just foundation
Right,
funds. It's not
right.
real, I mean, district.
And I think we need to name the people on the board who are going to be on the signature card, as well as Jackie.
Right.
Okay. So it's all the board officers?
Including the newly, or can we put Sandy Hanky on yet, or does she have to
No,
be
she's
confirmed
not
by
an
the
officer.
commission?
That's fine.
She's not an officer.
Okay.
Oh, I understand.
Scotty Walker, Ron McMullen, Judy Walker, Judy Highland.
Great questions.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Take a roll call vote if there's no other discussion.
Vern,
Yes,
Judy Tyler,
Yes.
Harlan Dillon,
Yes.
Janet Bouchard,
Yes.
Judy Walter,
Yes.
Ron McMullen,
Yes.
Scotty Walker.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Warrensburg entry door issue.
So the east side of the Warrensburg front doors has developed this issue similar to the one in Holden, where it's dragging across the threshold and then, so that keeps it from closing all the way, which is allowing a gap. And that also is widening. And that allows the heat and humidity, actually the heat and humidity seems to be making it worse. Staff recommendation would be to have someone look at the door for possible solutions. And then hopefully if it would need to be replaced, that there would be a panic bar added for safety reasons, of course.
So does this take board action for you to just get?
Normally, I
I
would
think
think that
we
it would.
want, I think facilities would like to have board direction that we pull in a glazier to look at correcting the whole system. I think my fear, not my fear, I'm
Concerned?
possibly, we're gonna have to replace that whole glass area. That may become a capital project and not just a building maintenance project. And because I think it may become capital, that's why I wanted the board's knowledge of it from the very beginning.
So we could just direct you to talk to professionals to get estimates of what needs to be done?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe that's a good idea. We had something similar happen at my place of work, and they didn't address it, and the glass above the door shattered.
Oh,
Because the building was settling, so the structure that's supporting the glass did not successfully support the glass. I would say it is more than just an aesthetics and
not good.
there's no possibility for.
If you just want to go ahead and look into that, you can report back to the board if it's something major that needs sooner action, just let us know and we can meet by phone. If it's something that is an emergency situation. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the audit engagement.
So Laura Gillum from Gillum and Gillum CPA brought by the engagement letter for the 2021 audit. The audit will take place in August. We still don't know the exact date yet. But this is just the engagement letter that is required, and then I would need to sign that and get that sent over. It's more just informational to the board. Is that right?
Has Gillum and Gillum been involved in previous audits?
Mhm.
This is an ongoing contract, and you've been happy with their work in the past?
They've been very helpful to us, giving us some strong suggestions and things of that nature. And we make our staff available to them.
I saw that was outlined in the letter. As far as HR staffing concerns, have you, from your side, do you have feedback on this?
Yeah, I'm sorry, do we have what on this?
The point that Judy brought up was that the library staff communicate directly with Gillum and Gillum on anything. And you've had positive interaction.
Oh, very positive. Very positive.
So I would just take a motion that we allow Jackie to enter into this agreement.
I know. I still move.
Motion by Jana. Second.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Give me just a second. Okay, Bird,
Yes,
Judy Tyler,
Yes.
Carolyn Dillon,
Yes.
Anna Brookshire,
Yes.
Judy Walter,
Yes.
Ron McMahon,
Yes.
Charlie Walter.
Yes. Okay, under discussion and announcements, we have a report here on salary scale recommendations. We need to talk about that.
Just a little, the board finance committee met back on June 23rd to discuss the fiscal year 2022 salary scale. Attached is their recommendation, which you have in your packet. And then, of course, it's more informational at this point because it would be voted on along with the budget in August.
All right.
If
Thank you.
there's any questions, I guess. for the committee.
I just want to say, when the committee met, Anita was so helpful in that she had sent us emails with like suggested ways that we could do this and how much it would cost per year to make the changes, whatever we had to do. I mean, we have to keep up with minimum wage. And she had all these things figured. It was really pretty much an easy decision. We had all the information. So thank you, Anita.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you, committee. The next thing I just want to talk a little bit about, and that is the lease in Holden. And a little background. The city of Holden
Do
owns,
we have to vote on this?
no, there's no action needed
It's just,
until next month.
you'll vote on it with the budget. It'll be included in.
So a little background, the building in Holden is owned by the city of Holden. And the Trails has a lease with the city of Holden for 20 years. And then after that, we have 4 20-year options. Recently, we're in year 17, so there's 3 years left in it. And I'm only pointing this out because I want to make sure that we are secure. And I have some doubts about some shenanigans that have gone on, not with the library, but with the city of Holden. I want to make sure, and this is just for future reference, but we want to keep our eye on the ball. I want to make sure that we don't do anything, not one period wrong in that lease, because I don't want to give them the excuse to cancel the lease, which they can't do for 3 more years. But if we do anything wrong at all, they can say, well, we're not going to renew the lease. And I want to make sure that we, and at some point we'll have to get Doug Harrison on this to make sure that we don't miss crossing a T or dotting an I or anything like that. I know a couple years ago, quite some time, the lawn didn't get mowed. And I don't want them to be able to come back and say, well, you broke your lease because you didn't take care of the lawn. And I'm just putting this out there because I'm concerned. I'm very concerned. I do have one other discussion item, and that's concerning the minutes that were corrected. And I'm glad that Carlin went back and looked at the video, because my interpretation of what we did, and it was, and my interpretation was incorrect, but it was my understanding that we were going to require children under 12 in large groups to be masked. And I know we can't do anything about that right now, but I think at the next meeting, we need to discuss, we need to revisit what we're doing. I saw pictures on Facebook today of the program over in Odessa, and that Odessa meeting room is not very big. And it was jam-packed full of kids and adults, and there wasn't a mask in there. Folks, it's coming back. I think we need to clarify just exactly what we're doing.
You asked me about Holden, and I believe that program, correct me if I'm wrong, Anita, but I believe that program in Noster and Holden was conducted outside. And the one in Odessa was inside. So that was that was one difference in.
Did the Lakeside Nature come to Holden?
It's in her minutes.
I'm not 100% sure because I know Lakeside was not able to go to every branch. And so they had Paul Landcammer come and do his.
The last program I know about in Holden was Paul.
And those were done outside.
Yeah, I know that.
It's in Jay's report. Reptiles and amphibians with Lakeside Nature Center programs had wonderful turnouts. But I think I remember seeing pictures or something, and it was conducted outside.
The program with Paul was outside, I do know
The
that.
program with the Lakeside Nature Center was done outside, and I believe it was outside in Mount Monster too. I think I remember seeing pictures out there too. Just happened, Odessa decided to have theirs inside.
I was just very concerned when I saw how full that room was, and there were no masks, and there were all those little kids. And I do believe that we decided that we were going to limit at the discretion of the branch manager how big crowds could be, but I think we're just being very dangerous.
They should have some guidance.
Well, I think, I may be wrong, but I think when we took down all the mask mandates, we did recommend that they still social distance, and that if people did want to wear masks, that they could, they had that option. So,
Have Odessa staff raised any concerns?
no,
Well, they don't wear masks at school, and they don't wear masks at church, and they don't wear masks at the daycare.
But in school or in church, school firm, you don't have 50 people in a little room like this. I mean, I looked at it on the Facebook page, they were crammed in there.
Even the daycares don't require.
I'm just as proud as I can be that the daycare wants to be dangerous with kids' lives, but I don't think that we should be having that many unmasked people in such a small space. I'm not going
I
to.
agree with you, fine, but if you've been paying any attention, I know I have gotten a lot of messages, a lot of talk. Whole Lafayette County is really getting the COVID again. I think when school starts, I bet a lot of schools are going to require masks because we're really getting Lafayette. Well, not just Lafayette, but a lot of the places are completely getting all kinds of the COVID again.
It just seems to me like we should leave it up to the
Oh, yeah,
parents.
I agree. Well, I don't think, of course, I've been a superintendent in school. I don't think you leave that to the parents. You know, Kansas City's having a big deal right now too. A lot of the parents are upset because Kansas City is going to require them to all wear masks. Some of the parents are really upset. But, you know, I just have to come about and see what happens. I don't have a clue.
Do all of the branches have signs on the door like Warrensburg that says masks are recommended for all patrons?
Yeah.
So, mask recommendation sign is listed. The website still says masks are recommended. Maybe if capacity is the concern in this space, maybe you look at your building code and like we did last March in a lot of businesses, reduce your maximum capacity based on a percentage of the fire. In the state of Missouri, if I understand right, mask mandates are very difficult to write, let alone enforce.
And that's why we left it at the 12 years and under, because those people can't be vaccinated. But still, to put 30 people in a small room, to me, is not responsible.
That is putting our staff at higher risk of exposure. And I think that's a real concern if the staff, especially if the staff have a concern.
Well, but the branch manager had the option
Sure.
to restrict that number, that occupancy.
Right.
I'm
And
just
they
thinking-
chose not to, so maybe they felt comfortable with that group. Thing is Johnson County has no mask mandate. There's not a mask mandate in the state of Missouri at all, in any county or the whole state. So to mask mandate our libraries, I understand COVID's coming back, but I feel like our officials should be making some kind of a mandate, and they're not. So
So one actionable point we have is we could, as a board, require capacity limitations. That's an action point that we do have the power to discuss.
We kind of did that earlier.
we just lifted all of our mask mandates.
I'm not talking about masks, I'm just talking about space, like capacity.
Well, but we voted last month to leave it up to branch managers.
But didn't we didn't have any crowd size? I thought we did.
We were gonna put it to 10, and we were talking about story time. We were gonna put it to 10, and Judy said, what if 12 show up? Are you gonna turn 2 away? And there was the thing about they pre-register, they make an appointment. And like we talked about, like if you go into Waverly or probably Porter, 10 would be a manageable number. Where Warrensburg could handle a bigger number. So it would be foolish to restrict them to 10.
And that was the reason we left it up to the branch
To
manager.
the branch managers to determine the size and the group that they had to determine what size of group they wanted.
I see where you're coming from, Scotty. The concern for the safety of the group. I definitely see where you're coming from.
But there were a lot of adults in that group too.
There were.
And if they were concerned, they could have put a mask on any one of those children. Do we not provide masks in every branch?
Yes.
Can I make a suggestion? I know at my last library, I early on came up with pandemic plans. So as things kind of ramped up, we knew what to do. I can put something together like that. I know all of our branches are different, all of our communities are different. So I can make sure that it includes that, different sizes and things like that. On recommendations on, if we get to this level, we'll get to, and have some recommendations there and have some type of plan so that we don't have to keep coming back every time and changing things. We would kind of already know what we were going to do.
I
Kind of have that in place already. The problem came when, really is a problem, that we started backing off. And of course, the communities and branches didn't feel we were backing off fast enough. And it kind of threw it on the board to go, branch managers, it's your job. Because like you said, the different sizes, the rooms in Knob Noster are huge. Here, they're good size. Like Fern said, Porter or Waverly.
Even Holden doesn't have that big of a.
No, they
That's what I'm
don't.
saying. We would come up with a plan for each branch, working with the branch manager on what would work for their facility as things ramp up, which is what it's looking like. We would definitely work, within the, like, so Warrensburg, we would work with the branch manager to come up with some type of plan, if we have to keep going up.
That should be left up to the director and each branch manager. Should it not? Would that be something the board would really have to vote on? I mean,
It's not even in the agenda, so we're not even technically talking about it.
I mean, it's just.
We get on track a lot.
It's discussion, that's why.
That's what I was saying. If you would like for me to, I could kind of put something together to present, whether you vote on it or whether you leave it up to us, but that would at least give some guidance for me as a director. That would certainly help me. I feel like it would help the branch managers as well, so that we just kind of know what to do. And there wouldn't be any question, and it wouldn't be, okay, well, this one has a small meeting room versus this one has a large one. Well, we know per branch what would be done at each level. So
Maybe even a reminder to branch managers that some of them need to take a closer look as to how large their facility is and what they can accommodate.
Is there some type of guideline, the square footage of the room? Like how many people maintaining a 6-foot apart distance? And then say, this is how many you can have?
Well, that's kind of what they did originally, and Waverly could only have 3.
Oh,
The thing is, in the small libraries, they don't have as much room, but they don't have as many people.
exactly.
I mean,
And that's why I was saying, the guidelines would be per branch versus the system wide, because they are so different. But I mean, if you would like for me to, whether you vote on it or not, I would feel better as a director having a place as things ramp up.
I agree, it should come to the director and the branch managers.
I would like for you to put that plan together. And just hope we haven't locked the door after it's too late. Okay, if there is nothing else, I will adjourn.
Oh, I have a couple.
Oh, yeah.
What is this?
Oh.
That was the map of,
That has to do with the Holden Lake.
I wasn't sure exactly what was gonna be discussed, so I just got some things together, some information wise. I also brought the lease agreement with me.
I was
Just in case there was. Okay, so I did just want to say, so Anita did include in your packet the draft budget. So I know there were some things that, there was a typo and something that was left out. So those changes have been made. This is just for information. And then of course, the final budget will come before you in August. And then I have just a couple of things, just a couple of thank yous and some announcements. I did want to thank Scotty for being there to introduce me to the staff the first day. That was great. I appreciated that. I also want to say a huge thank you to Anita and Karen both for quickly getting me up to speed so that I could actually sit in this seat today for the board meeting versus sitting over here and just kind of observing instead of participating. So thank you to both of them. I also want to say thank you to Luke and Billy. When I first came and was looking at the desk, which desk I wanted, desks were too short. So they built a platform to raise the desk up, and it looks beautiful. It looks like it's part of the desk, and so it's just amazing. So we won't have to purchase a new desk, so that's great. State aid application is completed. Judy just signed that this evening, so I will be submitting that to the state library tomorrow. Starting in August, I am going to start sending packets out electronically, so by email. So if anybody wants a paper packet as well, let me know, or you can do a show of hands now. Because I know maybe some people don't want the paper and you can get it a lot faster. So who wants the paper?
What was I didn't hear what you said first.
Starting next month, I'm gonna, start sending out your board packet by email.
Okay.
If you still want a paper packet, just let me know. I'll be more than happy to get you one.
Yeah, I gotta have. a
Okay,
paper
so just a
packet.
show of hands, who wants a
I want
paper
a paper
packet?
packet. You can send it to the library, because that's where I always get mine out of the library.
Okay, so Ron, Scotty, you said you wanted one. Vern, Harlan,
I'll try it.
you want to try the electronic first? Okay, if it doesn't work, let me know. I'll be happy to get you the paper. And you just gonna do the electronic? Okay, and then I'll have to ask. Georgia. Okay.
My printer is very iffy.
Okay, yeah, not a problem. At least you'll have the electronic version and then you can have the paper version too, so. Just kind of some top priorities that I'm kind of working on. So in the near future, I'll be meeting, back up a little bit. Anita's actually going to be taking me to all the branches so I can meet the branch managers and the staff that are there tomorrow and Friday. We have that planned. And then in the very near future, I will be meeting one-on-one with all of the staff, just kind of getting to know them, letting them get to know me. It will take me a little while to get that done, but I think it's very important. And then top priorities kind of for this month, we'll be kind of deciding on administrative duty, like restructuring those so that we can get a job description so that we can get the vacant assistant director position filled, which is very important. That'll take a lot of work off of a few people. Working on getting ready for the tax levy public hearing and then finalizing budget. And then I want to begin, we had talked kind of in interview process and all of that, some board orientation and training. So I want to get that kind of started to ensure that we're following parliamentary procedure, bylaws, any open meeting laws, to avoid any potential violations, and then to develop that rapport and trust between the board and the director through effective communication. So I know that was the desire of the board. That's all I have.
Good to have you, Jackie.
Thank you. Glad to be.
Yeah. I was gonna say, where's the check?
The checks are in the
Was I supposed to get them out? See, you didn't tell
Well,
me
that
that.
came in just about when it was time to start the meeting anyway. And I think everybody has a check, so if you want you want me to go through them?
I'll hand them out, so,
Okay.
yeah, I'll just put board member checks up here, so.
Okay.
We are adjourned.
Awesome.
Before we all leave,
I made it through the first official meeting.
before we all leave, everybody, Ron, wait just a minute. I wanted to thank Anita so much for all of your help.
My God.
And you did a wonderful job, and I don't know that we could have made it through this without you. So thank you very much.
Anita's great.